Hello, everybody. I'm Misa Narrates. This is my digital space. I hope you enjoy. Now, today I am joined by Ipeleng. So last week, I hope you enjoyed the episode with Zoe Motiga, but this week, we're going to just keep the train going, you know? And Ipeleng is a musician of note. I think she came in really hot and by surprise. Like, she took everybody by surprise this year. So let's just enjoy, find the pros in our lives, and continue from there. Ipeleng, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am fine. It's been a very interesting week.
Very interesting times.
Very interesting time.
Very interesting times.
But,
thank you for having me on your platform.
You're most welcome. Now, I feel like I had this list when I was creating this, series. I was like, who am I going to talk to? And the one person whom I really wanted to talk to, whom I felt like I wasn't seeing enough from and wasn't hearing enough from, was you. Because, ma'am, you came in out of nowhere. You just said, take my EP, I'm going to hurt your feelings, and you're going to enjoy and stream. Ma'am,
you're going to be hurt. Take this, take my heart, take my past, take it all.
Joy. Your 2020 release, how did that even come to be?
I think I've always just wanted to release music and make music, and so it was just another day in the office, if that makes any sense. It was just something that I did. It was something that I've always known, and it was just time to sort of release more, because I used to release on like SoundCloud and have small little listening sessions over there, but I decided that, I should actually put this on streaming platforms now. My friends were begging. My friends were like, Ipeleng, I can't go to SoundCloud each time I want to hear a song. So
now you must download.
That's where it all came from. Yeah, it's very inconvenient. It is. Yeah.
But I think the world is happy that you decided to grace Apple Music and Co. with your presence.
Well, I hope they're happy.
I mean, your release unsolicited came out of nowhere. How did we get to that point in terms of your subject material?
What I do is I tend to reflect a lot, obviously. I reflect a lot, I write a lot, and that is all paired with experience. It's all paired with grief and, the natural occurrences of life. And I find that it's so therapeutic. It's so cathartic for me to make music, to write it down. And I think I just experienced a lot of heaviness in the past 2-3 years. And that's what makes up the bulk of Unsolicited. And I think it all just sort of came together at some point where I felt that I had covered a lot of what had been hurting me, and put it down in music, put it down in poetry, and we have Unsolicited.
So I think, like, for me as a listener, I just felt dragged the whole time. Like I felt like, oh gosh, this has been what I've been experiencing. And the thing about music and the thing about poetry is that sometimes, like with some poems, it's very lengthy and wordy, and you just spin a hectic story with the most excellent language. But it's really when we see people drawing back the style of language that they use and just saying, hey dog, you hurt my feelings, and leaving
exactly. And I think that comes a lot like in the simplicity of it, because I feel like Unsolicited is a bit of a departure in terms of my writing style. And in that it's quite simple. It's not very intricate, and it's because of just how personal it is. When something is so personal, it becomes, for me at least, it becomes a little difficult to spin it into something beautiful and something poetic. And it's just, it's how it is. It was how it is.
Dog, I'm upset. You hurt me.
I'm so sorry.
I might give you a little melody while I do it, but I'm not gonna be cute with my language. You hurt my feelings.
Exactly. I think that was the main thing. And I only realized and discovered this after I'd sort of put everything together, and I was sort of reflecting and looking at the project, and I was like, wow, this is not very, very lyrically intricate, but it's literally blunt, it's straightforward, it is what it is.
So with in poetry, we talk about like the moral of the story, or in poetry we refer to it as allegory. Which song did you feel you had the most like intense moral lesson from the experience that inspired the song?
I would say it's a toss-up between a need and focus. I think from a need, I was in a place in my life where I started fully grasping and understanding the fact that I am my own responsibility. Within a need, I say, I need to do this for my mental health. I need to do this for myself. This is not working anymore. And you are not responsible for, making me happy. I need to do it myself. And it was a big turning point for me. It was a huge turning point in my life and in my learning experiences. And I think for focus, something that I discovered as well in my own personal journey is the idea that when you're battling, internal battles, when you are, struggling with your mental health, it's never a linear journey. It's always something that is a constant battle. It's something that you have to fight. And at some point, you have to accept that, because it's not really curable. It can be alleviated in many, many ways. But if you have mental illness, it's something you have to fight every single day, and you need to be patient with yourself. You need to try.
I think if anything, like, my mental health journey has taught me that I need to just be okay with recovery not looking a certain way, or with the idea that like recovery might not exist. I think that's the toss-up that I've been recently. That there might be no, like, for instance, I've been looking at what's been going on in the media, and obviously I think the most well-known story is like Kanye's unraveling online. Like, you can't be recovered from bipolar disorder. You'll always have it. But you can have a really great experience in managing it. So perhaps that's what we call recovery, so that's very telling. And also just respecting the fact that I've got to make me happy and I can't depend on you. But I really think that if old boy tries hard enough,
perhaps it's very possible. If he wants to, he will.
Basically, actually, if he wants to,
he will.
So if you had to, as someone who listens to your music and who was moved by it, I know that there are people here that might not have listened. If you had to describe your music by comparing it to something, be it a place, a person, etc., what simile would you use, or what metaphor would you use to describe your music to someone who hasn't listened to you before?
Wow, I think it's a journey. It's a voyage. I feel like emotionally, when listening to it, it can take you to many different places. Can take you to grief. It can take you to heartache, heartbreak, and it can take you to your struggles, with mental illness. I think that's the main sort of thing I would use to describe my music.
And going forward, like, we've discussed themes around mental illness, we've discussed themes about romance that maybe didn't work so well. What are a few of, in general, and it doesn't have to be specific to this release, because for all I know, you're busy cooking in the studio right now. what moods and themes do you generally gravitate towards when you're writing or when you're just conceptualizing music in general?
I found myself writing a lot about the heaviness that I experience. So a lot of my music is sad experiences, I will say. But as I said earlier, I use my writing in a very, very cathartic way. I use it to, put things to rest, to help myself get over hurtful things. Whereas when I'm happy, writing seems to be the last thing on my mind.
Right.
I'm sort of just, it's the last thing I want to do. I just want to be happy in the moment. I don't necessarily want to reflect, because a lot of the times happiness, like pure joy, can be fleeting, so I just spend my time, I sit in the happiness. Whereas with the sadness, there's a part of me that's kind of yearning and aching to like get it away, and so I write about it to help me understand it better.
I think so. I'm a little different in that sense, because I don't necessarily write when I am happy. I write when someone has made me happy, and I'm not writing about how I feel. I'm writing about more so what they've done to make me happy, so that it's still not about, because I don't want to interrogate this happiness. I like it. I don't want to interrogate it. I don't want to understand it. I want to just enjoy it. Whereas
exactly.
with, like, grief or pain or anything like that, there's almost this desire to completely understand it, for the simple fact that because you feel so devastated by it, like there has to be a reason why this hurts so much. And that's when you start like digging into the intricacies perhaps of what pained you, what, hurt your feelings a little bit. I'm the same. Like and I think that's why a lot of people think that I'm a morbid writer. Like if you ask my mother, she'd be like, yeah, well, she's sad all the time. If you had to just read
but that's not the case.
But I'm not sad.
We're not sad all the time.
I promise I'm happy. Yeah, so with in writing, we refer to something as this thing called foreshadowing, which is basically kind of allusions to what's going to come. Now, I know that this whole coronavirus situation has made it practically impossible to
so difficult.
Oh my god, like you don't want to you almost don't want to predict anything.
Exactly.
You sit and like
you want to take it one day at a time.
Basically, like if I were to, oh my gosh, if I were to look back at what I looked like on day one of South Africa's lockdown versus, and what my mental was like, not just what I looked like, because I've been, but I've been cute, but like what I was thinking about my life, what I was thinking about my business, about my brand, versus today.
So much uncertainty.
Two different things. So I feel like it's almost impossible to predict, but maybe we should say, like, what are your hopes for the next 6 months? Yeah.
For the next 6 months, I'm really hoping to release some visuals. Like, I'm really, really hoping to release some visuals. I think perhaps, maybe new music.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yes.
Maybe. But yeah, I've been writing a lot, as one does when you're in the house for 5 months and have absolutely nothing to do. And so nothing's been distracting me outside of like my school and academics. And so there's a lot more music that is sort of sitting in the vaults right now. So I'm hoping that people will see a whole lot of that.
No, that's brilliant. I'm very happy. I'm sure my readers and my viewers are very happy to hear that. But yeah, I think it's impossible. Like, I want to hold on. Even when artists tell me, like, oh yeah, I'm still dropping in 2020. I was like, are you sure? Like, do you want to? Like, first and foremost, I want to, but do you want to?
Do you want to? Especially when you're in the creative industry and so much of it means getting out there.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
if
I said
it's
to a
like
lot of
performances.
I said to a lot of people, like, this sucks the most for people that were depending on live shows to really share their message. Because now,
Exactly.
I mean, I can post on my channel and on my feed if I'm a musician all I want.
It's not the same.
Like, there's no cross-pollination of audiences anymore. In a way that if you landed a gig at someone's show and there was maybe like a bigger headliner, you knew that, you know, all the people that are there for the big headliner would eventually hear you. And
exactly,
you could grow a community that way, you know?
And now as you post, you're posting for the people that, you know, they know you, they love you, they appreciate you, but that's sort of the only audience that you have.
But, you know, Muzi said something. I don't know if you're familiar with his work or his, like, commentary in general, because he's a very funny guy. But Muzi said, I pay attention to people that pay attention to me. And I just felt like that's the most liberating thing you can do for yourself as an artist.
That is so important.
Like, I mess with people that mess with me. If y'all mess with me,
in all aspects of life. All aspects, not just your career, not just, you know, your art, in everything.
Yeah.
Pour into people that pour into you, basically.
Yes. Because then you can replenish each other and build. You know, I hate it when musicians say, let's build. Have you seen that meme where the guy's like, let's build, let's build?
Let's do this, Oix.
But for the people that maybe like are curious about your music but don't know where to start and are not album listeners or are not like full project listeners, because you know those people exist where they just like singles and that's it. What are the songs that you would say they should start with when it comes to getting to know your style of music?
I would definitely put Focus at the top. I think that's in terms of my songwriting, in terms of my sound, even when I look at the direction that I'm heading towards, I feel like not only will they get to know, you know, me in the present, but in the future and what to expect. I think also listen to a lot of my older work, because that's almost like the crux. A lot of it is quite raw as well. And I think it's very, very important if you're also trying to get to know me as an individual, as a person. So yeah, top one is Focus. Listen to Focus.
All right. Well, I hope that if you've watched through to the end and that you've enjoyed more so than anything else, because again, I'm Misanere. This is my digital space. I really hope that you've enjoyed.